over the last year or so, there have been a couple of lawsuits against some major real estate companies and against the National Association of Realtors that have affected some changes in commission, how it's discussed, and how it is paid. So I thought it might be a good time as these changes roll out in the next month or so to explain how that actually affects us here in Southwestern PA. So truthfully, because our multi-list here in Southwestern PA is not owned and operated by the National Association of Realtors, there isn't really a whole lot that's going to change on our end other than how we talk about commission. So to start with, real estate commission has always been negotiable forever. So anyone that tells you otherwise, that there's a certain number, a certain fee, a certain percentage, that's all just made up old wives' tales. Real estate has always been 100% negotiable. Now, there are trends and there are normalities when it comes to commission, and we'll talk about that in a second, but nobody has a standard rule of thumb. And so if somebody says that, they are speaking incorrectly. So here in Southwestern PA, the way that we discuss commission with a buyer is going to change starting in August. And really all that means is we'll have to make sure that the buyer is aware that there are some sellers who may choose to not pay a buyer's agent commission. That has always been in existence. That has always been an option, but we never really spoke about it too much just because we were able to work through it and we're still able to work through it. But now we have to talk about it kind of up front at the beginning of our relationship. The second thing that's going to change is that because of these changes with commission, buyer agency agreements are going to be required as soon as our relationship starts in some form or fashion. They can be for shorter length of time, but there has to be a buyer agency relationship in place because as a real estate agent, the only guarantee I have of getting paid is that I have a contract signed with either a buyer or a contract signed with a seller. And so now that we are discussing commission much earlier in the relationships, especially with the buyer agency contract has to be signed before we look at any house together. The next thing that has changed is how we can structure commission into a deal. And before this wasn't really a thing, but if the seller is not offering commission to a buyer's agent, the buyer is allowed to add the amount of commission that their agent is supposed to be getting paid onto the purchase price of the home and disclose that on the agreement of sale, so the seller knows that even though the price has increased by a few $1,000s, some of that money is going to be going to the real estate brokerage for the commission aspect. Before, that was not a part of the agreement of sale whatsoever. That conversation was dealt with separately, but now it's going to be disclosed on there. So overall, as far as who pays commission and how we structure things, how we go about doing it, the mechanics aren't really changing at all. There's a little bit of change in a couple of our documents, and we have to talk about things a little bit sooner than we would have talked about them before. But overall, things are still the same. We're still going to be creative. We're still going to be helping you solve, the challenge if commission is an issue as it has been in the past. Sometimes we can still work through the different scenarios with you on that. But don't buy into everything that you see on the news. It's not going to make home buying cheaper. For buyers, it's going to make buying a house potentially more expensive. And, we're going to have to work through some of those scenarios. So buyers, just make sure that you're working with your agents or good ones that can work you through the process. Sellers, realize that you didn't pay commission when you purchased your home. And if you're looking to maximize your results when you sell your home, if you're going to disqualify a whole lot of buyers because you're not paying commission to their agent as people have done in the past, those buyers may not be able to afford your home anymore, which means they're not going to look at your home. And so you've just cut a segment of your market out because of this new thing that you think is going to save you a few dollars. It's going to lose you money on your sale price because of a poor marketing strategy on behalf of your listing agent. Agents, if you make this more difficult than it has to be, then shame on you. I'll see you out there.